Good morning and welcome to Julie Hall Designs. Thank you for joining us today. I want to share with you today a brilliant, small, totally in the hoop, no additional sewing wallet. This wallet has enough room for your coins. We have multiple card slots. There are 5 card slots in there. We have a zippered front section for your notes, and it is all created in the 5x7 hoop. You get to choose your fabrics. This is one that I've made using a black style fabric. You get to choose your zipper options, and you get to make it the way you want it. Okay, let's get started. So first up, let's look at our requirements. The first thing I've got here is my fabrics, or are my fabrics. And I've got these all cut according to the pattern and then pressed. I've used a range of fabrics that I just happen to have in my stash. Naturally, you can use as few or as many fabrics as you wish. And in the previous version of this wallet, you can see that I've done it with 2 fabrics, a patterned and a plain. We also need 2 pieces of zipper, and I've put a feature zipper tab on those just because I think it looks quite pretty. We need the mini frame or the small frame for the Diva wallet, and lastly we need 2 different types of thread. This is wash away thread. Once you touch the thread with water, it will disappear, and we use that for a lot of the basting to get a great result in these designs. The other thread that I'm using is just a standard sewing thread. Okay, let's get started. So the first thing that we're going to do is hoop our stabilizer into our 5x7 inch hoop, and I've got my wash away thread loaded in the needle with regular thread in the bottom or bobbin area, because that just means that once this thread washes away, the bobbin thread will disappear. And then I'm going to stitch colorway 1, which is going to show where my fabric's going to lay. And from there, I'm going to take my first piece of fabric, lay it over that outline, and stitch colorway 2 to hold it down. Now, even though I'm the person who made all of the sizes, I still cut my fabrics just the teeny tiniest bit larger, or round up as I'm cutting, just to give me that little extra bit of space. Okay, so colorway 3 is going to show us where we are going to place our first pocket. So still with our water soluble thread in, I'm going to stitch out colorway 3 And then I take my first piece of pocket fabric and lay it over that line. What I now need to do is swap my thread. So take the water soluble off and swap it for a stitching thread. And stitch out colorway 4 to secure that first pocket. And then we start the repeat process. So wash away thread again. And I'm going to stitch out colorway 5. Take the wash away thread out. Load up my sewing thread. Oops, I really did not mean to keep that button there. And colorway 6. Now I'm alternating my colours here. You can use as many or as few different fabrics as you wish. These were some fabrics that my mother had in her stash, and I've been looking at for the past 6 months trying to decide what to do with them. They're quite large pieces, so you will probably see them in projects over the next couple of years, but I just thought they were absolutely stunning fabrics. Colorway 7 in wash away thread again shows us now, one of the things that I like about using that wash away thread is that while we're constructing this, that wash away thread holds everything down beautifully. And it really does mean that we get the opportunity it means that this isn't going to lift up any more than is absolutely necessary. I keep on forgetting where I am because I'm having too much fun stitching and talking. And this is colorway 8. And then we've got the final stitch down with our wash away thread. Tricks with wash away thread is to, when you're not using it, to keep it in a Ziploc bag. You really do not want to let moisture or even steam from the iron get to this thread. And my finger just keeps on hitting that as I'm coming through, so I do apologise. And that is the card pocket finished. So what I'm now going to do is remove this from the hoop. And then take off that excess stabiliser. And I will come through and take all that stabiliser off. And then I'm going to fold that over and press, and I've got my card pocket area ready to go. Okay, let's come and move on to the next section. Now we're going to work on the internal small zipper section. Once again, I've got tearaway stabiliser, and I'm going to come through, and I've got my 2 fabric sections, 2 zipper end cover sections, and I've got my zipper. Okay, my design is loaded, and I'm going to stitch it out colourway 1, which is going to show us the outline of this section, as well as where we're going to place our zipper. So the zipper size that I'm using is a number 3 zipper. And to make it just that little bit more special, I've used a custom zipper tab, which you can find at Julie Hall Designs in a load of different colours. So that's just knotted up that little bit there. And I'm going to take my zipper, lay it over that outline, and I can see here that this is going to stitch across the top of that design. So I'm going to make sure that the zipper tab, I'm just going to move that camera there, I want to make sure that the zipper tab is going to hold that down at the bottom. And then we're going to repeat the process with the zipper tab Okay, so what we now need to do is pull this zipper tab into the center of our design so that we can see exactly where we can place our tab sections. And we like to use the tab sections because it means you can just get a more beautiful look out of your zipper, and we don't have all of that bulk in the seam line. So stitch out colorway 4, which will show you where that's going to go. And then what I want to do is move that hoop forward, and let me show you exactly what I'm going to do here. I'm going to come through and I'm going to cut that bulky zipper section out of our seam line. Now, you don't have to do this, it's just going to make it prettier as you put everything together. Now I can move the hoop back and take my tab cover, hold it over there, that outline, and we stitch that outline down. Now we do exactly the same thing on the other side. Now, do make sure you're using a nylon zip here, because it means that the foot can go over it. If you use a resin zip, and I'll show you an example of a resin zip or a metal zip, you cannot stitch over that zipper section. And Murphy's Law says I'm going to lose the other tab there. Oh, it's right in front of me, of course. Hold that tab over the section. And we've now got a really pretty zippered section. So now, using the larger of our fabrics, come and lay that over the zipper, ensuring that we cover up those seam lines on each side. Now what I'm going to do is just do a little bit of a stop here, come through, so that that zipper doesn't get caught in any of that. And then let's repeat the process down here. And once we've done a couple of stitches there, we can come back through, close up our zip. Okay, and that is our zipper pocket. So now we can remove this design from the hoop. We can remove all of our excess stabilizer, and we can move over to constructing the entire wallet. So before we put the entire project together, what I want to do is come through and press each of my pieces with a hot iron. And if you are going to use hardware, for instance, I want to include a handmade tag on my wallet here. So I'm just going to press in the halfway point, which allows me to choose where that is going to go. And I'm going to come through, and I'll just come in closer there and use my prongs here to work out where to cut some little holes. Now, I'm actually only going to go through one layer of this, but I do want to put a little bit of stabilizer on there. So whenever you are going to do something like adding a piece of hardware, make sure that behind it you have a small piece of stabilizer, and I'm just using a piece of iron in stabilizer there. Stabilizer interfacing, something that is going to stay there, support the weight of the product and keep everything straight. Now that I've done that, I can come through and cut my holes. And then use those holes to poke these prongs through. So there I have that. And then we attach the back frame and just lay those prongs flat. And what you are left with is that beautiful handmade tag. Okay, so let's come through and put our wallet together. Okay, so to complete our bag, we are going to load up the front of the wallet design. I've got my hoop here with tearaway stabilizer in it, and I'm going to stitch out colorway 1 to show where the zipper and the design itself is going to go. Now, again, I'm using my number 3 zipper, and I've attached, again, a rose end pull onto this. And what I want to do is center that zipper section over. And I've got a little bit of play area here, thankfully. But the one thing I do want to pay attention to is which way you want your zipper to open. I always want mine to open from left to right, so that is the way that I'm making sure my zipper is going to go in. The other thing that you can see there, I cut my zipper about 1 inch longer, and I'm just leaving the zipper pull up the top there until I've done these first couple of stitches, just to make stitching the entire thing easy. And then I'm going to stitch out colorway 2, and then colorway 3. Have to trim as I go. Okay. The next thing we do is we take our fabrics and we start attaching those fabrics to the zipper. So I've got this beautiful pink fabric here. I'm going to come down and just pull it slightly down to that point. And this is colorway 4. And then colorway 5 is going to be the top section. Now the thread that I'm using here for construction is a regular cotton sewing thread. If you are going to use embroidery thread for the colour, please make sure you're using polyester, just because it is stronger. Okay, so that is the front of our zipper pouch. Again, I'm just going to get rid of the excess there. What I now need to do is put the backing on that. Before we do that, I need to pull my zipper into the middle section there, and then I'm going to take my hoop out of the machine, lay that fabric across our outline, and if you need to attach with a little bit of sticky tape, that's fine. And what you want to make sure when you put it back in the hoop is that it is smooth on the other side. And you can see there that that is all smooth and covering everything. So I can now stitch colorway 6, and be careful when you're stitching over your zipper. Just give it as much room as you can. This is a very large stitch, and that's because we're going to be doing more stitches as we come through. So, the last thing we need to do is then place our final bag pieces together. So, what I want to do is come through, and again I'm going to move that into the center there and lay my pouch section, and I've got my card section, and then finally I've got the back section. Once you are happy with the placement of those pieces, I'm just going to gently hold everything and stitch colorway 7, which is going to go down the right hand side. And then colorway 8, which is going to go down the left hand side. And that is all the stitching that our project is going to take. So let's come over to the workbench to see how we put the finishing touches on this fantastic project. Okay, so here we have the finished project, and I'm going to come through and remove my excess stabilizer. From now, I also want to begin by trimming out some of the bulk in our seams here. So what I'm going to do is come through and just take some of that bulk out, and then this side's kind of even, so the next thing that we have to do is turn the project right side out, and be gentle. And the difficulty is you've got all those different sections, so you just want to make sure that everything is staying in the right place. Okay. And Then we're going to play the pressing game. And the pressing game is going to be just coming through and making sure those seams are as flat as we can make them. And that's what we're going to end up with. And you can see along here, we also have a seam line that is longer than what we actually need. So I'm going to trim that end to about 1/4 of an inch on either side. And what we're then going to do is take our clasp, and you'll see your clasp has 2 sections, and it comes with all of these screws. Now these screws are incredibly easy to lose, so please do be careful, and you have to choose which way you want your bag to close. So for instance, I want mine to close this way. So this section is going to be the way that I popped that one on. And the first thing that I'm going to do is trim the bulk out of the corners. Now remember, these seams are enclosed, so you're not going to see any of this, but having that bulk out just gives you much more ability. And what I find is I just need to open up, and I'm using paper scissors to do this. Do not use your good scissors, or a pair of pliers would work as well. So to open up that area just a little bit more, and we're going to come through, and you will also need to use your thang, stabby stick, call it whatever you will. Now, once you've got the size right on this, the next thing that we have to do is cut a section for that pull through. So if I come through and mark up where that is going to be, I can then and look, this does get messy. There is no two ways about it. Okay, I've got that section out there. And now I am just going to insert that, and you'll use your stabby stick to get it all pretty. So first from one side, and then from the other. And then you take your the screws that come with it, and we want to screw that in. Now the best way that I have found to screw it in is I'm a glasses wearer, and my glasses came last time with this teeny tiny screwdriver, which is just the perfect size. Okay, so that is in there, and that is looking all beautiful. I just want to tuck that last tiny bit in nice. And you really do. Now if you like glue, you can glue this in. I find that the screws are enough. So I'm going to grab my teeny tiny screwdriver. That's the wrong end. Okay, that's the right end. Take my screw, and it screws into the fabric and holds it all securely. And then we are going to repeat on the other side, and you'll have your finished purse. Okay, let's come back and have a look at our finished project. And what we have is now a beautifully completed wallet. We've got a zippered section here for our notes. If I turn it over, I've got my coinage area here. I've got room for my most essential credit cards, and I can also hold notes here as well. What I love is it folds up into a beautiful small wallet that's just perfect for carrying around your essentials. I hope you've enjoyed this project. I encourage you to join us at Locked In Stitches for our free weekly Facebook classes, and check out our designs at juliehulldesigns.com. Until next time, have a stitching day. Bye.